Greetings, children of the screen, your friendly neighborhood nerd scum here once again, and it is time to jump back into Jackson's Tale, Part 2. Now, when we last left off with Jackson, he had 3 people held captive, tied to chairs in front of him, and he was breaking down his life up to this point from 3 separate vantage points. The past, telling the story of his many encounters with a woman named Magda, who was some kind of intelligence agent working in the field of bioweapons and whose affiliations and alliances could never be determined for certain. The nearly present, where Jackson lays out his journey battling the cross through Iceland to get to where he now sits. And the present, where he recounts his story to his captives. Now, if you missed the first video, a link for that will be popping up right now. And if you want to see more content like this, then make sure and hit that little subscribe so you can check out all the cross content I've got coming out every 2 weeks. So, without any further ado, let's jump into Jackson's Tale, Part 2. Iceland. Ridiculous bloody place hadn't changed at all, though I ain't sure I remember it being quite so splattery. But as you know, this isn't my first time in Iceland. In 1992, Jackson and his unit were sent into Iceland to eradicate a coalition of special ops defectors hidden away in the mountain bunker, the same bunker Jackson was standing before in the near present, and within, in the present. Jackson and his men move in, taking the bunker with ease, but as they move into the lower sections, a voice cuts through the darkness. A voice Jackson knows. Magda. He finds her at the bottom of the stairs, with 2 twin boys strapped to her chest and back via a baby Bjorn. She fills the room with words, but Jackson still moves in for the kill until she indicates that the children are his. This gives Jackson pause long enough for Magda to step up and spray him in the face with something. Suddenly, the madness of his inner world explodes out, obscuring everything. Jackson opens fire, hitting a couple of his own men, and he has to be dragged from the facility, screaming. He was dishonorably discharged, telling him he was lucky that he didn't face military prison. But due to the court-martial and what they said was a lack of proof for genuine mental illness, his medical support was denied along with his pension and benefits. Jackson admits, in his memory things begin to blur more and more around this point, mostly a blur of drinking and fighting until he ran into Rab again, when he was just low enough to bring himself to ask if Rabby had any work going. Mostly they ran whiskey, and a few guns for poachers. Rabby kept a stash out on a wee arse-crumb of an island he named Kava. They never quite became pals precisely, but they got the job done. They made some cash, and had a bit of fun even. Until the surprise. C-Day. Back in the present, Jackson's twisted inner world is spilling out, flooding the panels. Kinda complained too much. World was already fucked, far as I could see. We finally get the reveal that sitting before him is Magda and the 2 twins who have become infected and were already restrained when he arrived. He then asks her if the boys are really his, truly. Magda mumbles through her gag, which Jackson seemingly takes as a negative, and he shoots the boys in the head. Back in the past, we see Jackson helping Rab secure the last of his cargo, as the docks behind them burn. Rab tells Jackson that he could come to Kava, he'd be welcome, useful. But Jackson declines, stating that he has things he needs to do, people he needs to talk to, and that there's a unicorn made of pineapples he's got to go find. To which Rab replies, of course there is. And with that, Jackson was off to Iceland. And that, well, I believe that brings us back to where things started. And what that means is, you're out of time, Hin, so let's stop dicking about, shall we? Jackson takes their history, interweaving it into a tapestry that tells the story of her team gradually over the years working on a bioweapon, the same bioweapon that she dosed him with the last time they met, but that must have been a prototype. You released some, didn't you? In the air. It's you caused the cross. You fucked the whole world, Hen, and it's only fair it fucks you back. And with that, Jackson shoots her in the chest. She murmurs something through her gag. Jackson pulls it down. She looks at him, confused, and asks, "Who are you?" "Come on now, Magda. You know who I am." But as Jackson's captive speaks the words, I'm not Magda. Suddenly his hellish world retreats back inside of him, and the person in front of him transforms into a frightened, dying man. Jackson's captive grunts. Magda was long dead. She died in the initial outbreak trying to restrain the twins. And then he follows it with a statement that sends Jackson reeling, that their team was commissioned to build a bioweapon that did nothing. Part of the game. Mossad, KGB, the Saudis, the Libyans, MI6. We worked for them all. They all wanted it, but they didn't want the rest to have access. So they all came to us, one at a time, in secret, ordering us to make nothing. No, shut it. Too daft, too complicated. We didn't kill the world, pal, and you got driven crazy by a squirt of steam. And suddenly Jackson puts a bullet in the man's head. Jackson storms out into the moonlight, ripping his kilt off and screaming at the heavens. Maybe I like being nuts. Did you ever consider that, you wee bastards? Maybe it's a legitimate lifestyle choice for the sake of me own convenience, eh? Stupid, judgmental fucking world. Doesn't even have the decency to go along with a tidy wee explanation. Always with the fucking mysteries. He boards his boat and pushes off, leaving Iceland behind with all the nightmares of his mind flooding out into the real world around him. Still mustn't complain. It's a lot better than it used to be, that's for sure. Simpler. Daft, simple, mental wee world. And mine, of course. All yet. Bloody mine. And that is where this issue leaves us. The writing in this issue is top-notch. Spurrier does a fantastic job of incorporating real-life historical military engagements into Jackson's backstory, providing an excellent grounding element for the character, despite his madness and the madness of the world that surrounds him. The incorporation of the backstory between Jackson and Rab feels organic not only to the characters as they were established in Crossed Wish You Were Here, but also in terms of the natural progression of their relationship. The phonetic writing of Jackson's dialogue may be a little bit difficult for some people at first, but once you get accustomed to it, it's really no problem, and it's executed quite well. The book does a great job of creating a narrative which seems to explain why Jackson is the way that he is before pulling the rug out from under you and revealing that more often than not, there's no simple explanation for mental illness and how it manifests. This also stays true to the overall spirit of the Cross franchise, dangling the prospect of answers and resolution in front of you, only to snatch it away at the last second, leaving you only with the grim reality that this is the way things are. In terms of the writing, I have absolutely no complaints. The artwork by Andretti and Digicore Studios is also fantastic. The incorporation of Jackson's vivid nightmare innerworld with the extremely grounded art depicting the real world is masterfully handled and gives us something very unique to this franchise. This allows the book to feel special and different from the rest of the franchise without breaking the universe or feeling disorienting. Visual indicators in the separation of the three corresponding timelines is distinct, utilizing not only excellent panel layouts and color shifts, but also multiple small details within the art and character models themselves to make each of these time periods clear. This allows for extremely smooth transition from each one without breaking up the narrative flow. When it comes to the artwork in this issue, again, I have to say, I have no complaints. There you have it, children of the screen, Jackson's Tale, and I have to say, I really enjoyed this book. Rab and Jackson are some of the most interesting characters from Crossed Wish You Were Here, and while that volume, or none of those volumes really, suffer from a lack of their backstory, this certainly helps enrich those characters and their interactions and brings more to that without running into some of the problems that you get oftentimes from retcons like this. All in all, it's a really nice addition to the Crossed universe, and it gives us a unique point of view on that universe through the eyes of Jackson. So yeah, guys, I really love this book, and I really enjoyed sharing it with y'all. If you like this video, then please give it a like and share it with some friends. Also, if you're not subscribed to the channel, make sure to subscribe so you can check out all the dope content I'll have coming out in the future, including new Cross content every 2 weeks. Thank you very much, children of the screen. Hope y'all have a good one. Nerd scum.